Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and today we're going to be taking a break from the old computers for at least this week. And this week we're going to be looking at a more modern computer. I've had this computer for about 3 months now, I guess. This is a Dell OptiPlex 3010 mini tower computer. I picked this up at Goodwill back in August for $25. It was sold for parts. But good news is it ran beautifully, and it still runs beautifully. It's a Ivy Bridge era computer with a Core i5 3470. I've used so many 3470s over the years, it's not even funny anymore, but fact is they are good CPUs though. Very good CPUs. And lately I've been using this as a multi-purpose computer. This had been running Windows 7, and I had it set up next to my main computer out here in the office as a secondary machine, mainly for analog video capturing. And I've also been using it as a Kubuntu machine. I also had a separate SSD installed in here for Kubuntu. And at one time I even had Windows XP installed on here, if you can believe that. How was I able to get it on? How was I able to get Windows XP on here? Well, thanks to the easy to boot USB drive having the built-in AHCI driver, and thanks to Snappy Driver for providing all the rest of the drivers, Windows XP ran on here just fine. But I went back to using my Inspiron 518 for my XP stuff because while XP ran on here just fine, it just didn't feel appropriate for this computer. So, the reason we're looking at it today is because I am repurposing this computer. I'm going to be moving this computer into my bedroom to use as my bedroom desktop for a little while. Just because, why not? It's a good computer for that. And what we're going to have to do today is take out the Linux SSD from this computer and put it in because I'm going to be putting it in another computer at some point. And I'm going to wipe the drive that has XP and 7 on here and just put a single copy of Windows 10 on here. Very controversial choice, I know, but I'm one of the few people in the world that's never really had too many issues with Windows 10. Knock on wood. Just a quick little look at the I/O on the back. We've got Ethernet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 HDMI, no, not HDMI, USB ports on here. 1 HDMI, a VGA out, and microphone, speaker, and line input, and several expansion slots. This did come with a built-in, well, not built-in, but a NVIDIA video card in here, but I took it out because it was actually weaker than the onboard Intel video. Well, weaker in that it didn't support fast video rendering, so I took that out because I do a lot of video work on this computer. So we'll pop the panel off here. These little Dells are very easy to work on. I believe this is the Linux SSD hanging in here. It's just flopping around. I know it's not very elegant. So I shall remove it. This is a Inland 120 gig SSD. This will be going in another computer. Hopefully I can just reuse the Kubuntu install on here. That shouldn't be too big of an issue. Linux is good about being moved from one computer to the other. Got a 180 gig Intel SSD right here, and a 1 terabyte Western Digital Green hard drive for data storage. There's our CPU, and 8 gigs of RAM, which did not come with the system. I added it myself. And yeah, not the most exciting computer in the world, but it runs really, really well. These Ivy Bridge systems, they seem like they're probably going to last forever. Because you can still do so much with these. They still feel like new systems to me. But, maybe I'm just in denial or something. Oh, and we also have a DVD-RW drive up here. So, that's pretty much all I really needed to do inside here. Just take that one SSD out. And we'll go ahead and pop the cover back on. So yeah, this computer is not bad at all for $25. So let me put it back where it had been, where I had been using it, next to my main computer on the other wall, and I'll hook it up and we can start putting Windows 10 on it. Okay, I'll go ahead and turn it on. I need to go in the BIOS to change a quick setting. If the keyboard will work. There we go. Have to use a function key on this keyboard, and sometimes I don't get it in time. So, since I had XP on here, I've been running this without Uefi, and so now that I'm going to be getting rid of Windows XP, I'm going to turn Uefi off, since I don't need non-Uefi anymore. Okay, I'm trying to remember where that is on the system. Okay, here it goes. Uefi, there we go. That ought to do it. Now let me grab my easy to boot drive, which has several versions of Windows on it, and a couple of Linuxes as well. And we will be booting from that, so I guess it saved the settings. You mash that F12 key. There we go. You can never be too careful when it comes to your function keys. Okay, the way this works is kind of weird. The way Easy to Boot is designed, you have to do a legacy boot into it first. And I've only done this once. I think you do the legacy boot, then you go into the Windows install menu, choose your version of Windows, in this case Windows 10. And this is the latest version, 1903. And I got two different types. I got MBR and Uefi. We'll go with Uefi, and I think when I select this, this will reboot into a special Uefi version of Easy to Boot. So it looks like it's going to be doing that now, in theory. There we go. Boot via Uefi. I think this is it. Like I said, I've only done this once before, and that was a few months ago on my main computer. Okay, now this doesn't look familiar at all. Okay, apparently I chose the wrong option, but I'm back at the computer's boot menu, and there's now a Uefi option for the USB drive. That'll probably take us back to where we were before. Or not. Maybe this is what I should have done to begin with, because I think it's trying to load the Windows 10 setup goodies. So I should probably put a disclaimer on this video. Do not use this video as a how-to guide. Instead, use this as a video to laugh at a crazy person trying to figure out how to install Windows on a computer. But seriously though, this is not a how-to video. This is just a regular video. Okay, it's doing the little spinny circle thing. There we go. That's what we want to see. Install now. I'm just going to use my Windows 7 key on this computer. So we're going to need Pro without the N because I live in America. I accept. Custom install. Okay, we do not want to touch this drive right here. That's my data drive. So we'll get rid of Windows XP and we'll get rid of Windows 7. And we'll just take the entire 167.7 gig drive and use it for Windows 10. It's probably doing some partitioning in the background. And here we go. This usually doesn't take too long, but for the purposes of this video's length, I will pause the video here. Okay, first reboot. Let's see if it did its job properly. So far, so good. Yeah, this computer was manufactured, it looks like October 25th, 2013, putting it at about 6 years old, which, considering how much slower the technology boom is these days, it seems this computer is still fairly new to me. To me, at least. Your opinion may vary. Of course, right here is my main computer, which is a Ryzen 7 system. Wonderful little computer. Built that about earlier this year sometime, I think in February. Okay, how long does it take to get ready? Okay, screen went blank, so it must be doing something now. Okay, looks like it just rebooted. So we'll give it another minute or so. Maybe it'll finally do something a little bit more interesting. Okay, the first real screen. That looks somewhat Windows-esque. We'll get there eventually, don't you worry. Alright, we're at the out-of-box experience. If I don't know if it's still called that or not, but I'm just going by what it was called back in the XP days. Okay, we are indeed in the United States. And this is a US keyboard layout. Do not need a second keyboard layout. Now I was going to set up the network, it looks like. Which I doubt there shouldn't be much to that since it's just an Ethernet cable. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's trying to find some updates. Windows 10 loves its updates. And we're going to set it up for personal use. I do not have a Microsoft account, and I highly recommend you not use a Microsoft account with this. I'm just going to put in Billy. Unfortunately, Microsoft is wanting to move away from offline accounts, which really upsets me. So we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. So let me put my password in. Okay, I wish it wouldn't require security questions, but it does now, and there's nothing we can do about it. But I took care of that off camera, and let's see, what's this? Do more across devices with activity history. If you want, you know, I'm just going to say no to that. And I do not want Cortana. I've never had a use for Cortana, and I never will. Okay, let's turn off most of this stuff, because most of this is just annoying data collection and spying stuff. Do not want speech recognition. Do not want inking and typing. No advertising ID. No Taylor experience. None of that. We'll keep location on, but just about everything else we'll turn off, because it's just the right thing to do, if you ask me. Hi. We're getting everything ready for you. There's nothing to worry about. We're not going to hurt you. We never hurt people who obey us. You will be just fine. Everything will be just fine. You must obey Microsoft. If you do, everything will be just fine. Okay, that was a bit creepy. Okay, finally at the desktop, and the first thing we see is Microsoft Edge. Excuse me while I regurgitate my lunch. Okay, that's better. So, first thing I want to do is take out our easy to boot drive for one thing, and pop in my daily driver flash drive, because I want to run our old friend Snappy Driver Installer. So, there we go. Go to the USB drive. And we'll just copy it to the desktop, because it's just a little bit nicer that way. Okay, got everything copied over to the desktop, so we can go ahead and open up SDI. And we will allow access to it. So first of all, we'll just update the indexes, because if I don't, I usually get a bunch of extraction errors for some reason. And this will take about a minute or so. Okay, indexes are updated, so I'll just grab pretty much all this stuff. I won't take any of these, because these keyboard and mouse I'm using are only temporary for this computer. I'll be using something else when I put it in the bedroom. And the Intel display audio and Intel HD graphics. Just notice I'm not sure if it's detecting the sound card or not. Well, Windows is, but Snappy Driver isn't. But we'll let it do its thing anyway. This needs to download about 2.35 gigabytes. So this will take a few minutes, and I will pause the video right here while it does so. Alright, it's installing away. Again, this will take a couple of minutes. Okay, we're ready to go now. We'll just go ahead and restart to get everything up and running. Okay, we're rebooted, so let's check our device manager as well as a few other things. Okay, first of all, we see right there we got our SSD and our storage drive, so all my data is safe and sound, and Windows is not activated for some reason. I do not know why. I will look into that in a moment off camera. Okay, Intel HD graphics is set. Yeah, just as I thought, Snappy Driver didn't pick up the audio driver. Let's see if Windows Update can, though. Best drivers for your device are... yeah, right. Okay, haven't been able to work on the sound card driver yet, but I was able to activate Windows. I was able to use the Windows 7 key that was with this system. So after 4 years, the free upgrade to Windows 10 from Windows 7 is still working. I probably wouldn't recommend corporations and businesses go that route, but for home use, it seems to still be working just fine. So that's most certainly a good thing. Saves me some money. So I guess what's going on right now, it's wanting to do some updates, so we'll go ahead and do that and let it restart, get that over with so it doesn't restart in the middle of something important like Windows likes to do. Well, I think the exciting stuff video wise is over with until I hook this up in its new home in the bedroom. So off camera I'll install all my programs and goodies like that, and once we're ready to fire it up in the bedroom, I will resume the video there. Please ignore the mess of wires back there. I know it's a mess, but I got everything hooked up to the computer now in its permanent location. And by the way, I'm tripodless right now, so please take your motion sickness pills if you have any. So for peripherals, I've got this simple blue Logitech mouse, this very nice Unicomp Model M style keyboard with buckling spring keys, and this 1080p Dell monitor with soundbar, which is convenient because I really don't have any room for speakers on this desk, except for this Gateway 2000 setup next to it. So, without further ado, let me open the lens to the webcam. Let's fire it up. It's a quiet little computer. And here we go. Definitely a good sign. Okay, it stopped focusing. Alright. Put my password in. And here we are. I already set most of the stuff up out in the office. And it's pretty much all ready to go now. Of course, it's installing all the drivers for the new hardware I have connected here in the bedroom. Got a Dell TV Tuner USB card that Windows 10 no longer has drivers for, but I've got drivers that'll work. I'll just install them at a later time. Okay, there's the very poor old Logitech webcam. Okay, there's the Dell TV card that's not going to have any drivers available. But again, no big deal. I got the drivers. I can install at a later time. It says it's set up and ready to go, but I highly doubt that. And I think I figured out why the mouse isn't working. It's not turned on. There we go. What am I going to do with myself? So everything is pretty much ready to go. The only real thing I have to do now is just install my antivirus software. One thing I want to show, what I do on some of my Windows 10 computers, just to make it look nicer, perform nicer, and run a lot more safely. If I can find it, that is. First of all, I got a program called WinArrowTweaker, which unlocks a few hidden features. Like, you can disable Cortana, you can disable most if not all the ads, which is really nice. And I can't find the setting for that, but you can also add a seconds to the clock down there, which really comes in handy for myself. And one more thing, if I can find it, you can add extra transparency to the taskbar. It's somewhere in there. And you can also turn off a lot of the telemetry goodies that Windows 10 is bundled with. And for even more of that, you can also install a program called Spybot Anti-Beacon, which so far on this computer is blocking 40 out of 82 telemetry goodies. I use goodies very, very loosely. So, everything seems good to go. If you're wondering about the sound card, I wound up not installing a driver. The built-in Windows high-definition driver works just fine. It still has all the features I want. And there's my start menu. So, yeah. OptiPlex 3010 seems to be running just fine. This will make a great little bedroom computer, I must say. So, until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.